tell me kind of some of the early years of your life that led you in the entrepreneurial investor direction. If you think back of some of those influences or impacts.
Definitely. Great question. And so I'm the youngest of four. I'm first generation. My family is from Ethiopia. My parents worked hard. I worked 2 jobs. We're always there, but they were very entrepreneurial as we got older. And so they went from cleaning offices and cleaning buildings to having their own cleaning business. And me being the youngest, it really clicked in with me where it was, yeah, have a great W-2, great career, go to school, check all the boxes, but also have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yep.
And it allowed me over the years to go to college, go to grad school at ASU, stay here in the city, really engage with my community, with my parents.
I love that.
And over the years, I started realizing, okay, real estate, I saw the power of it. And the power and the essence of, I bought my first home when I moved out of my parents' house. From there, it was slowly, okay, buy another piece of property. Along the way, make mistakes. Along the way, falling forward per se, rather than falling back, but falling forward. And it allowed me to, overcome various markets. And for years, I got, Heather, you and I spoke offline about crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So I was big already in crowdfunding, watching the legal ramifications. And I said, well, there's all these buildings and all this real estate that Ted Araya on his own can't do. Right. And I wasn't comfortable, even though I had all this backing of a community and things like that. Group crowdfunding and touching other people's money wasn't my thing. And so long story short, you take the roots of this entrepreneurial spirit, you take all these great laws changing and impacts coming from a crowdfund standpoint. And that's what led me to Neighborhood Ventures. And it's not so much taking my own personal assets and investing it by project or ultimately by all the projects that are going to be coming. But it allowed me to now take that wealth of information, not just for myself, not just for my kids who are young, but also now when I have conversations with people, Jamison, I'm big on taking away excuses. So now when I talk to people and I say, well, you can invest in these properties. Well, I don't have the money. Well, this is the limit you could start with. Oh, okay, well, I don't know anything about it. Well, here's a website that has all the information. Well, and so you guys have done that. And my goal now is to, Jamison, I think I emailed you 3 weeks ago. I think it was like evening, if I remember. I put my kids down. They're 2 and 11 months. And I said, hey, Jamison, I really need to pick your brain because I've done a lot of things in real estate. I haven't really done multifamily. Intimidation, resources, information, whatever it is, somebody that's doing it.
Yep.
And so I know I gave you a long-winded answer, but it starts at a young age of saying, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I also want to do it correctly with people who have done it before me.
Yep.
And then ultimately, you don't have to go with the flow. I always say, I like the quote of be the flow, don't go with the flow. And so you guys have given us that platform to do that. So I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't know that you're basically first generation, but it's amazing to see the difference in perspective of first generation Americans and knowing that what their parents sacrificed and did and where they came from versus the opportunities we have here. What was your first real estate transaction? What was that thing that got you over the line?
My first transaction was post undergrad. I was 21 years old. Market was soaring. So we're talking 2006.
Yeah.
And I moved out of my parents' home and I didn't want to rent at the time, right? The old school mentality, you want to buy. Market was red hot. Bought what I could afford on paper. It was a couple $100,000. I knew financially what I could afford, bought a townhouse. Market crashed like a year and a half later. And so that's why I was laughing earlier. And so that was a big wake up call.
Yeah.
But amid chaos, there's opportunity. And that's when Jamison and I started saying, okay, I watched all my neighbors move. They cut, foreclosed, short sold. They were out. But then I said, you know what? There's opportunity amongst this. I'm going to take my time. I knew my mortgage was fairly cheap compared to renting at the time. So I was like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm single. Bought the one next door.
Yeah.
and then slowly but surely started investing overseas. There were some properties. And this is important because a lot of times people say, man, it's not that people are dumb or lazy or whatever. It's just when the opportunities presented themselves, I was always ready.
Yeah. Well, I think you're really thoughtful in your decisions. You didn't panic. I would be a panicker. I'd be like, it's on fire. I've
Right.
got, but you really like stop and thought about it. But where's the opportunity in this? I'm going to take a breath. I
Right.
admire that.
Right. No, I appreciate that. It's either panic or reorganize your thoughts. And it happens as a parent now. I deal with that, and it's like you even get calmer because if I get worked up, my kids will get worked up.
This is the truest sense. They will mimic exactly. If you bring it down, so will they. Yeah.
And the beauty of the market, the way it was, you know, at the time I was in grad school, as everything was sorting itself out, I didn't have as much capital. I wasn't as knowledgeable about credit as I am now. Hindsight 2020, what I should have done was bought my whole building because the units were going really cheap.
Yeah.
Right. But no one had the wherewithal or had the assets or the opportunity. The stars weren't aligning.
Yeah.
But now, you know, given today's market and over the years with these deals, is you start asking yourself, okay, is this a cash flow opportunity? Because for me, everybody, I'm big on financial literacy, and everybody has different vices. Some people want to make money to own the big house, drive the dream cars. For me, it buys me time.
That is right there. Money buys you time.
Money buys you time. And when you're able to own assets that bring in residual income on a level, hopefully one day like neighborhood ventures, it allows you to go to doctor's appointments, to go to golf, go play golf.
Yeah.
You know, Jamison and Heather.
To be really present with your children.
To be present with your children.
Yeah.
To do things like this in the middle of a work week.
Yeah.
And so I would say there's so much added value. And then without knowing it, you are a leader in your community. Next thing you know, you're a role model, whether you want to be or not. And the final stickler is you're literally lifting as you climb. Because when I reach out to Jamison to gain more information, humbly, I'm taking that information and I'm sharing it with the world.